Dungeons and Dragons, Satan's Game. These are the experiences of two individuals as we fight our way through various evil and blood-soaked horrors known as D&D. Look and weep at the evil that awaits us. Will we survive the horrors?
I hope so.
Spoiler warning for those of you who dare to set foot. You will be spoiled.
Oh, yes.
But we'll see you at the D&D game. Greetings! You're watching SeptumSin versus the World, and now another episode of Tabletop Horror. I'm here with Kotobuki Jake.
Hi.
We're just about to film a scene from Amityville webcam, but I figured a short is probably not going to be all that big a deal when it comes to this.
But hey, that's just a theorizing. A game theorizing!
So we're covering the film The Gamers. Okay, I'll go show it right up here. But not really The Gamers. Or The Gamers. Bless you. Just The Gamers.
Yeah.
This is actually a short film done by a bunch of people. I think a lot of it was a test to see a lot of the special effects that they could do and some of the things that they could do as a team. And they did show some impressive feats. But we have a pretty good pedigree here, and we'll go into that a little bit later.
Mm-hmm.
But this one has multiple commentaries, and it has a lot of stuff on the DVD. If you can find it, again, out of print, like any of these. But if you can find it, a lot of commentaries, a lot of these things that compare animatics, showing how cool some of these things were. A lot of it focused on the set design, a lot of the CG effects, and stuff that went into this film. Like I say, I feel like this was more of a demo, like a demo reel for them. But also, though, the guy wanted to create something to mimic back his old days when he was in a gaming group. Several of them actually are gamers, and they were kind of wanting to do something kind of nice to this. And the guy even said that one of the things he wanted to do was do something, show gamers in a positive light. Mm-hmm. So the plot is a fight between good and evil over a very powerful dice or crystal. They find that some of the wounds inflicted in game seem to also happen to them in real life. And also there's some drama about one of the characters kind of trying to go after the popular girl in school, and they think that he's kind of lost his way. So, let's talk writing. I mean, I like the portrayal of the session being an all-night session. I mean, they ended at 6 in the morning, which is kind of nice. The artifact was also pretty cool. And I think that this is a story that probably could have gone on a little bit longer. The writer also said that this experience was something that was similar to a real experience, not that like getting injured in real life, but like the background story was more. I really think this could have been a full feature if they wanted it to be. What do you think?
Well, even the length of the other Gamers movie, like this one's still less than half that length. They could have definitely included another scene or two, beefed it up. Now, I don't know if I've done an all-night game session, but I've done multiple-hour game sessions. And I can definitely say you can definitely do an all-nighter and only progress the story slightly. So, that makes perfect sense. If anything, they did a pretty decent amount of progression for one night. But it's... Yeah. I'm not so sure I feel like it feels like a demo. I think it feels like a finished short. It just does feel like it's one that could have easily had a second or a third part to, as you say, kind of extend it or what have you.
Yeah. And they did a lot of work with it, so it might not have been. They might not have had the money or the time to do a full movie out of it.
Yeah.
So let's get into acting. So,
well, and I believe you said the director was mostly known for
visual effects
and such.
I mean, Hardcore Henry and
right.
some of that, which is what we'll talk about, I guess, in the special effects, definitely.
Well, I was just going to say, like, where is this on his as a director?
I don't think he has a lot in directing, though. I think this is like his only. It might be his only director credit.
Maybe. Let's see. Yeah, only one director. Only writing credit, too, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So that just might be it. Like, maybe the people he worked with or for were like, oh, okay, you want to do, you want to make your own movie? Well, all right. Well, but that'd probably only get you so far, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, though, looking at
he did
this,
call in a few favors.
actually, looking at this was early in his career.
Oh, yeah.
So it could also be that.
I really think that he was using it to show off a bit.
Well, I was going to say, it could be that he did it and he was like, you know what? I don't really know if I want to be a director.
True.
So that's possible.
So acting, solid acting. Mm-hmm. Oddly enough, not wooden at all for the most part.
No.
I felt like it had surprising talent for one of these types of films. Mm-hmm. Of course, maybe we've been getting too many of those other type of acting experiences, and this is just looking. Well, when it comes to the movies we've covered on this show.
Yes. Okay, yeah.
I mean, come on. Comparing this to maybe some of the other ones we've covered so far, this is pretty top tier comparatively.
Yeah, I'll give it that. Like, they weren't doing, for the most part, they weren't doing anything particularly strenuous acting-wise, but they definitely felt natural, and yeah, it worked.
I think the emotion when they were talking about the guy they felt like was betraying them.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
Yeah.
And some of the actors have some decent enough credits. I mean, one of them has like an extensive voice acting career. Gosh.
Yeah, Yuri Lowenthal is very well known in the anime community.
So,
but also, I think American acting, animations as well.
Yeah, this is some pretty impressive stuff, I think. I mean, for, like I say, comparatively, music. I think the music was appropriate. I watched it. There is actually a commentary track where basically when there's music in the film, it just isolates the music, none of the voice and stuff like that. And the guy does his commentary during the parts where there is no background music. So I was able to hear the soundtrack a little bit better, and I thought it was really good. Surprisingly good. But
well, again, soundtrack's by Bear McCreary, who did Godzilla, King of the Monsters, and 10 Cloverfield Lane, and a couple other pretty high-profile movies. So,
yeah, a lot of cool stuff follow these people after this. I think the only one that had like a pretty extensive career prior to this was Yuri. And because everybody else seemed to like really go into their careers right after this thing.
Except for the girl player, she
has only a handful of things.
Well, no, the one who the player. This is her only credit.
Oh yeah, there's another female involved.
The one who's in the fantasy scene, she's been in a couple of things. Yeah.
But hey, you never know. Some people, this is it.
Yeah.
I mean, how many of the people in Amityville webcam were ever going to act again?
So Sammy Barrows is the one who plays Kate, the player, and Anna, the character in the game, is played by Rainey Kerwin. Yeah, so we have Rainey Kerwin, Yuri Lowenthal, and Andy Gatkin, who are in the characters in game. And Sammy Barrows, Charlie Kosnick, and Ben Kogestein, I guess, are and I guess Jeremy Walter are the players.
Yeah.
And Steve Watson is the NPC, and Orion Barnes is the shade.
Yes. Well, let's speak about those because they used a variety of special effects. From paper mache to computer generated to people in costumes. They really worked on making the shades come to life and things like the chapel and other things. You wouldn't have expected that Forrest was actually right in the middle of a bustling college campus. This is what, after hearing them talk about it and what he was trying to do with this, that's the reason why I say there's a lot of it that looks like a tech demo, because he was creating this to show people that he could. And that's what he said anyway. And I have to admit, he showed that he could do quite a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, comparatively, again, to what we've seen before, I'd say at least holds up to the best of those. Probably a little bit above.
Yeah.
And definitely better than the last film we had. Even though I like that one better, I do feel like the special effects were much better here.
Yeah.
I mean, those shades were really cool with the glowing eyes, and they had that effect with the arrow going right into his head, and the head just come right off. That was pretty impressive. Let's see here. According to what my notes say, the set crafting, of course, was in the basement, actually of a fraternity, which they said was disgusting, and they had to do their best to hide a lot of the crap that was down there. And they utilized a lot of ADR and a lot of other effects that made it look pretty impressive. So, what are your thoughts on the special effects?
Well, that sounds like a good example of effective location scouting. If you're trying to have an appropriately eerie and ghost-laden or spirit-laden place, the basement of a fraternity is a good way to do that.
So,
but anyway,
special effects. We've done that, but let's go into the summary. This is kind of a quick episode, but I want to make this episode be around the length of the short film, which we're running out of time for that. That tells you it's only like 15 minutes long. So I mean, we're going to go over likely, but essentially this was an amazing little piece that most people probably don't even know exists. It's a fun short film. It's one that if you can get a chance to look it up and try and find a copy or see where it is streaming, I really do think it's worth your while because, quick 15 minutes. If you like gaming, if you like D&D, it's a fun enough little experience. What are your final thoughts?
I concur. It was a fun one. I wasn't sure what to expect going in, but I enjoyed it.
All right. Like I say, there's not much we can say about a 15-minute film, but let's go to the ratings board. So the first one is the role-playing, right? And that's of course, how much it is accurate to the game, and and
what did they call it in this one? It was
they had a made-up name for
creatures
it.
And something.
They had a made-up name for it.
It was C&C, but it was something like creatures and I can't remember exactly.
Creatures and cringe lords.
It was like creatures and castles or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But I thought that they did a pretty good job of making this into a basic RPG session, really kind of funneling that experience through. I also think that, so to me, I think that it's pretty accurate to the game. It holds pretty well. It feels right. Even the setting and everything feels right. I'll put it right up there with the gamers. I'll give it a 9. It's not straight out a role-playing system, but you know what it is. It's easily identifiable.
Right.
And everything down to the just general feel of it is right there. But that's my thought. 9 out of 10.
And I would mostly agree. I mean, this pretty much is a gaming session. I mean, the gaming is absolutely integral to the plot. The plot mostly this is a gaming session. So it's like, I would still rate the other gamers a little higher, but if we're doing to whole numbers, I could go with a 9 for this.
Okay. So that's an easy one. Now the LARPing score, where this thing kind of falls, I would say even below the gamers, because it kind of goes with it, but I felt like the gamers got that slight edge on it just because they had that scene at the end where they kind of confronted each other in real life in the real world.
Well, there's another major reason why the other one had the edge over this, and that is that the players appeared in the fantasy segments as their characters, but here they had others taking on the roles.
So I really can't give it much of a LARPing score.
No.
Maybe a 2 because there are people that they show playing out the parts, but it's not them. So that's really I can't say that there's none or no representation, but I still think it's like really low.
I'm not even sure there is any, but I'm also not going to say with absolute certainty, no, there's none. So I'll give it a 1.
I mean, if anything, the guy was being hurt when his character got hurt, so there was some relation there.
That don't really count as LARPing. But like I said, I think I'll give it a 1.
One of those things were in the real world. So, if I recall correctly, it rounds up when we do the thing, so it goes to a 2.
Sure.
But a 9 on the role-playing score, 2 on the LARPing score. Not bad overall when I could say a role-playing game film. Not a LARPing film, but I really don't think you're watching this for the LARPing, I would expect.
Yeah.
But we're going to get to some LARPing when we go to our next film. But if you want to know how long that film is, you've been watching this for longer than you'd be watching The Gamers. We were trying to rush this so you could get that experience.
Yeah.
But this has been SeptumSin, and this is Kotobuki Jake. And we're going to see you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye-bye.